Taehyung placed his hand on Jungkook's leg in the middle of a live broadcast, unafraid of the cameras and holding nothing back. That action spoke volumes for both of them, without saying a single word. During a live broadcast, Taehyung placed his hand on Jungkook's leg without joking. He didn't do it quickly or timidly, nor did he look away. It was a touch that can only occur between people who share something very close. Taehyung gently squeezed Jungkook's leg, like someone who has done it before and doesn't need to hide it. Jungkook, for his part, showed no discomfort. He didn't move his leg, react with surprise, or look at the cameras, trying to escape the moment. That normality in his reaction was a silent confirmation. A sign that this kind of closeness between them is nothing new or improvised. The fact that this happened in front of cameras makes it even more significant. They knew they were being watched, and yet they didn't stop. On the contrary, they let that gesture speak for them. This not only shows confidence, but also establishes a clear position for those who follow them. They aren't afraid of being seen for who they are. The connection between Jungkook and Taehyung has its own codes. And when that contact occurs in an environment as exposed as a live broadcast, it becomes a symbol. A way of telling the world, this is real, this exists, and this isn't hidden. For many people, these details are enough to understand what's really there between them. Because it's not an act, it's not fan service. It's a natural way of touching, of communicating, of being close. And that's what makes this moment so important for those who have followed Taehyung for a long time. Taehyung didn't move, and Jungkook stroked him with his feet under the table, while the cameras continued to roll. When it comes to gestures between Taehyung and Jungkook, it doesn't all start with Taehyung. This specific moment makes it clear that Jungkook also takes the initiative. During a film scene, the two were sitting very close. Jungkook, without many noticing, stretched out his foot and began to stroke Taehyung. He did it carefully, gently, and discreetly. He didn't use his hands, not a word, just his feet. And the most interesting thing was how Taehyung reacted. He didn't move away, nor did he show discomfort. On the contrary, he just stood there, as if this kind of contact was already normal between the two. Taehyung's reaction wasn't one of surprise. Rather, he seemed to enjoy the gesture. Even his face relaxed, as if the physical connection calmed him. All of this happened while they were being filmed, but it seemed like for a moment the two forgot about the cameras. In that instant, body language spoke louder than any words. Jungkook not only caressed Taehyung, he also maintained that contact for longer than necessary. And that left a clear signal: there's a need to be physically connected, even when they can't do it openly. Jungkook sought that moment without anyone noticing, but there's always someone watching. Jin was right next to Taehyung and in front of Jungkook. He seemed to notice that secret contact. His reaction was very revealing. At the end, he let out a small smile, as if he already knew what was going on between them. That smile wasn't random, it was like a silent response to what he had just seen. And they still doubt this moment? Jungkook took Taehyung's arm as if it were his alone. For a moment captured on camera, Jungkook reached out, took Taehyung's arm, and began to caress it. This gesture wasn't casual or superficial. It was an action marked by an intensity that can't be faked. He didn't stroke it lightly, like someone simply seeking contact, but rather he squeezed it gently, with intention. The kind of caress that occurs when someone has already crossed an invisible barrier of trust, and doesn't need to ask permission to touch. Many similar moments have happened before, where they touch each other in subtle but firm ways, where their gazes linger longer than they should if there wasn't something else. When these actions are repeated so naturally, they cease to be mere coincidences. Taehyung and Jungkook have proven many times that what exists between them doesn't need external validation, much less a logical explanation for those who don't want to see what's happening right in front of their eyes. The important thing here isn't just the physical contact, but how that gesture shows what's happening between them without them saying a word. Jungkook didn't just take Taehyung's arm, he did it with a confidence that only comes when you share something beyond the stage. Furthermore, the fact that he did it in public and without worrying about the cameras indicates that there's no interest in hiding the connection they have. These kinds of gestures aren't part of an act. Jungkook has already said he doesn't enjoy fan service, and if he does something like this, it's because it feels real. He's not interested in faking something just to please those watching. So when he takes Taehyung's arm like that, he does it because he wants to, not because someone asked him to. For years, many people have tried to analyze Taehyung and Jungkook's every move. Rumors, debates, and attempts to discredit what they share have been constant. However, instead of responding with explanations or formal statements, they have chosen something stronger, to act naturally. And that's what they did in that live moment. Instead of distancing themselves, they decided to stay close. Instead of guarding each action to avoid misinterpretation, they touched each other without hesitation. That decision wasn't accidental. It was a way to make a clear message: no matter what is said about them, they will continue to show what's really there between them. They don't need to give answers, because what they do with their actions already speaks louder than any words. When Taehyung places his hand on Jungkook's leg and there is no tension between them, only calm and naturalness, everything changes. It's no longer about what others want to interpret. It's about what they have decided to show. And they have decided not to hide. That attitude breaks with the idea that they must protect themselves from what others will say. The interesting thing about these kinds of moments is that they don't require any preparation. No one asked them to act this way, nor did anyone tell them what to do. They did it because that's how they are with each other. And they did it knowing they were being recorded. It's also important to note that there was no forced reaction from either of them after the contact. They didn't try to laugh to ease the tension. They didn't joke around or change the subject. They carried on as if nothing had happened. And that "as if nothing had happened" is exactly what gives the moment so much more power. For them, it's something normal. For those who observe them, it's further proof that what exists between them is far above any rumors. They don't live their relationship to prove anything to anyone, but they don't hide it either. That has kept Taekook strong over time, without needing external validation. And that confidence is what has kept so many Taekookers trusting what they see. Not because they say it directly, but because they constantly demonstrate it. At the exact moment Jungkook caressed Taehyung with his feet, something important happened that went beyond the simple gesture. They both seemed completely disconnected from their surroundings. The cameras were still recording, the other members were present, but a personal space was created between them, as if nothing else existed. This disconnection wasn't just physical, it was also mental. For a few seconds, their attention was focused solely on each other. That connection is what's most striking in this scene. The gesture was made discreetly, but Taehyung's reaction was unrestricted. His expressions were clear and reflected that he was enjoying what was happening. There was no discomfort, no hesitation, just an obvious connection. The natural way he accepted the caress speaks volumes. When a person accepts a gesture like that without tensing or being surprised, it's because that type of interaction has happened before. An important detail was Jin's position. He was right next to Taehyung, at a perfect angle to notice any unusual movement. He was also right in front of Jungkook, allowing him to directly see any action he made. When Jin noticed the contact between them, his reaction was a small, almost automatic smile. That smile was like a reflection of understanding, as if he was already used to seeing these kinds of situations between the two. He showed no surprise or disapproval, he just smiled like someone observing something he's seen many times before. These kinds of subtle gestures and the reactions they provoke are what fuel the analysis among Taekookers. When moments like this are repeated, when there are glances, touches, or under-the-table gestures that only they understand, a pattern forms that can't be ignored. The body speaks when words are silent. Jin's reaction with a smile also adds another layer to this scene. He didn't interrupt, he didn't say anything, he just watched. His gesture also speaks volumes about what other members have seen. When an action between two people is repeated repeatedly, and the others no longer react with surprise, it's because they've learned to live with that connection without questioning it. This detail is important for Taekookers, as it confirms that what is observed from the outside is also visible from the inside. Despite the many public moments like this, where Taehyung and Jungkook make clear their physical and emotional closeness, there are those who continue to reject the idea. Some fans insist on creating theories that attempt to dismantle everything that has been seen over time. These theories seek to convince others that everything that has happened between them is fake, staged, or part of a plan to attract public attention. The curious thing is that these claims completely ignore what Jungkook has expressed more than once. He has made it clear that he is not interested in acting or pretending for the cameras. He has even said directly that he doesn't participate in fan service if it doesn't feel real to him. Therefore, every interaction with Taehyung, especially those that occur without a script or without the need for attention, reinforces the authenticity of what exists between them. These theories don't hold up when you look at all the details. It's not just a moment, but years of repeated patterns, gestures that only make sense when there is some kind of intimate relationship behind it. The caresses, the long glances, the shared silences. Everything points to a connection that goes beyond the professional, and that couldn't be sustained if it were just part of an act. The Jungkookers, in their attempt to prove Taehyung is fake, end up ignoring much of the evidence. It's not just a matter of perception. There's clear evidence in how they behave when they don't know they're being recorded, or when they think no one is paying attention. Jungkook doesn't need to act, because the way he looks at and touches Taehyung already says everything that words can't. Furthermore, there's a clear contradiction in the arguments they use. If Jungkook didn't engage in fan service, why would he make so many affectionate gestures toward Taehyung in front of cameras? If there really weren't any, there wouldn't be this insistence on showing closeness even when it's not necessary. The truth is that the relationship between them remains strong even when there is external pressure to hide or deny it. The reality is that not everyone is ready to accept what Taehyung shows. But that doesn't change the facts. And even though many fans keep repeating their theories over and over again, time continues to reveal what's always been there. A bond between Jungkook and Taehyung that needs no explanation. It's simply revealed, fearlessly and unfiltered.